The auction hall was quiet, dusty, and full of things that looked older than the stars themselves. Jace Core, a human trader with a crooked grin and quick hands, walked through the rows of ancient relics. Most of the items looked like junk to most people: cracked alien helmets, broken star maps, and ships that hadn't flown in centuries. Yet, Jace's sharp eyes scanned everything. There was always value hidden in what others ignored. He had no intention of buying much today. His credits were enough to survive, not to gamble on ancient junk. But humans had a way of seeing opportunities where others saw nothing. That was their advantage, one Jace had learned from years of scraping through border planets and abandoned starports. And then he saw it, the ship. It was small, older than anything Jace had ever seen. Its hull was scratched and dull, covered with strange markings no one could read. The auction plaque said, "Class Unknown Alien Vessel, age 5,349 years, minimal function." The bidding started slowly. Most bidders were alien species with long necks, multiple arms, or shining carapaces. They didn't even glance at this ship. Some made jokes in their clicking and hissing languages. "Who buys a relic like that?" one of them said. "Humans, ha." "Don't make me laugh," another hissed. Jay stepped closer and tapped the console beside the ship. It was ancient, the kind that would probably break if you just breathed on it too hard. And yet he felt something. A spark. Something in the ship hummed faintly under his fingers. His gut told him this was no ordinary relic. $10, he said quietly to himself, almost joking. The auctioneer's voice boomed. "Starting bid for the Class Unknown Alien Vessel, $1,000 credits." Jace shrugged and raised his hand. $10. A murmur ran through the hall. Aliens whispered, laughed, and shook their heads. $10. For something supposedly ancient and valuable. No one had ever seen a human be so reckless or so bold. The bidding moved faster now, but strangely, no one seemed interested. Perhaps they were distracted by larger, flashier ships or priceless crystals. The numbers climbed slowly, but Jace's $10 remained unmatched. Finally, with a bored flick of her claw, an alien delegate passed. The gavel hit the console. "Sold. To human Jace Core, $10. Jace grinned. No one cheered. Aliens snickered, but Jace didn't care. He had bought something ancient and mysterious for less than the cost of a dinner on most planets. That was a win. He stepped closer to the ship. Its doors were sealed tight, but as he touched the hull, a soft hum echoed through the auction hall. The lights flickered. A faint glow ran across the ship's surface, tracing patterns in shapes no human could understand. Jace blinked. "Okay, that's new." The auction staff looked at him nervously. "Sir, the ship, it seems active." "Active?" Jace raised an eyebrow. "It looks broken to me." But then the hum grew louder. The ship's surface rippled, almost like water. A panel opened on its side, revealing a small holographic interface. Symbols floated in the air, spinning and changing. Then, in a voice that was deep, resonant, and almost musical, the ship spoke. "Pilot identified. Activation confirmed." Jace froze. He had expected nothing. Not a voice, not recognition, certainly not something that called him pilot. Hello," he said cautiously. "Pilot, your potential recognized. Ancient vessel operational. Destination mapping recommended." Jace looked around. The auction hall was full of aliens staring at him now. Their jaws, mandibles, and eyes widened. Humans weren't supposed to understand alien technology like this. Most humans would have panicked. But Jace, well, humans had a weird way of staying calm when others expected them to run. "Destination mapping?" Jace asked. "Like, where it wants to go?" The ship hummed and projected a massive holographic star map into the auction hall. Stars, planets, and glowing markers appeared, shifting and moving as if alive. Jace's mouth fell open. Some of those markers were in regions no human or alien had explored in thousands of years. The aliens whispered among themselves. "Impossible," one hissed. "That ship, it is sentient." Jace grinned wider. "I thought it was broken." The ship ignored him. Ancient wealth, pilot, coordinates to hidden vaults, lost civilizations, untapped resources, strategic advantage available. Jace's mind raced. Hidden vaults, lost civilizations. Resources no one had touched in thousands of years. He hadn't expected to win the auction. He hadn't expected anything. And now, the galaxy had just handed him a treasure map. The auctioneer coughed nervously. "Sir, you cannot remove this vessel until the proper clearance." Jace waved him off. "I think I have everything I need right here." He stepped aboard. The ship doors closed silently behind him. The hum grew louder, wrapping around him like a warm, invisible blanket. The interface adjusted to his hands, responding to his touch instinctively. He tried a few simple commands. Lights flickered on, panels opened. A chair rotated smoothly into position. The ship's voice spoke again. "Pilot, your ingenuity acknowledged. Learning protocol initiated. Suggested route for first treasure acquisition available." Jace leaned back in the chair. His grin was wide, his eyes sparkling with excitement. He had no idea what he had just bought, but it was clear it was worth more than any credits in the galaxy, and perhaps more than any human or alien could imagine. The auction hall erupted into chaos as Jace engaged the ship's engines. Aliens scrambled, trying to intercept him, but the vessel moved with a speed no one had thought possible. In seconds, he was gone, leaving behind a blur of ancient technology and stunned spectators. As the ship exited the planet's atmosphere, Jace laughed. "Well, that's a start." The ship hummed around him. "Pilot, first vault coordinates locked. Estimated reward unimaginable." Jace's eyes widened. "Unimaginable, huh? I like that. Let's see what this old girl can do." The stars stretched as the ship accelerated. Ancient civilizations, forgotten treasures, and secrets of the galaxy awaited. And Jace, a human who had bought a worthless ship for 10 credits, was about to discover just how powerful humans could be. For the first time, Jace realized the galaxy wasn't ready for humans, and he intended to make sure everyone knew it. And somewhere, deep in the ship's ancient core, a faint thought echoed. "Pilot, remarkable. History will remember you." Jace smiled. The adventure had only just begun. Jace Core leaned back in the sleek chair of the ancient alien ship. The hum of its core was soothing, like a heartbeat. Outside the viewport, the stars streaked past in long lines as the ship sliced through space faster than anything Jace had ever piloted. Even the fastest human freighters looked like crawling insects compared to this vessel. For a moment, he allowed himself to enjoy the thrill. The purchase of the worthless relic for 10 credits had already made him a legend at the auction. Stories of the human who had snatched an ancient alien ship spread quickly through local channels, though no one knew the truth. Jace had no idea what he was doing. He touched the holographic interface again, watching as glowing symbols swirled and shifted in response to his fingers. Somehow, the ship understood him. It didn't matter that he wasn't an alien or a certified pilot. It didn't matter that humans weren't supposed to interface with this kind of technology. Somehow, the ship accepted him as its commander. "Pilot, first treasure vault coordinates confirmed. Distance, 12 light years. Time estimate, 6 hours with sublight engines." Jace rubbed his chin. 6 hours, that's not bad. Let's see what's inside this vault. The ship hummed almost like it was smiling. Vault contains valuable artifacts, energy cores, and data crystals. Potential galactic influence, high. Jace leaned forward, excitement buzzing in his chest. He had always been good at spotting opportunities. Humans had a strange way of thinking outside the box, of solving problems when no one else even noticed them. And now, with this ship, he could do more than solve problems. He could shape the galaxy itself. The first vault was located on a small, uncharted planet at the edge of known space. Sensors indicated a vast underground structure, completely hidden from any conventional scans. Jace maneuvered the ship into orbit, careful not to trigger the ancient defenses that might still exist. Security protocols detected. Estimated threat level moderate. Recommend human ingenuity deployment, the ship advised. Jace grinned. Well, I'm pretty ingenious if I say so myself. Let's take a look. He suited up in a standard human exploration suit and prepared the ship's small shuttle. The alien technology interfaced with his suit seamlessly, adapting to his size, strength, and even his nervous energy. Jace stepped onto the surface of the planet, the ground soft and glowing faintly beneath his boots. The vault entrance was carved into a cliff, covered in symbols that pulsed faintly in response to his presence. Jace paused for a moment. The aliens who had once laughed at him would have turned pale if they could see this. Humans were supposed to be weak, primitive, and predictable. But here was a human, walking calmly toward a vault that had been untouched for over 5,000 years. He reached the entrance and examined the locks. They were unlike anything he had seen. Complex alien logic puzzles, energy fields, and rotating glyphs. Most humans would have given up, but Jace didn't think like most humans. He thought differently. He observed patterns, guessed intentions, and sometimes just guessed right. Minutes passed, then hours, as he tested combinations and traced the energy flows of the locks. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but he didn't panic. Then, finally, with a soft click, the locks disengaged. The vault door slid open silently, revealing a vast chamber glittering with alien artifacts, crystals, and energy cores that pulsed like living things. Jace's jaw dropped. Wow, they weren't kidding. He stepped inside carefully, scanning the room. Among the treasures were small, cube-like devices. Each one contained energy reserves capable of powering entire cities for decades. There were data crystals holding histories of civilizations older than the oldest galactic empires. And scattered throughout were rare artifacts that could be sold or used to gain influence across countless star systems. This is insane, Jace muttered. He began carefully transferring items into the ship's containment pods. The ship itself hummed in approval. Optimal acquisition strategy detected. Estimated market value incalculable. Galactic influence potential extreme. Jace laughed. Looks like the human race just got a little richer. Meanwhile, in distant star systems, rumors of Jace's ship had already begun to spread. Alien factions, warlords, and trade guilds noticed the sudden appearance of a previously unknown vessel, moving faster than anything they had cataloged. It wasn't just the speed. They sensed the presence of a highly advanced AI. And somehow, it responded to a human. That cannot be, hissed one alien commander. Humans are not capable of interfacing with such technology. It is impossible. But the reports kept coming. Sightings of the ancient ship jumping through space, collecting artifacts with impossible efficiency. And with every report, the alien commanders grew more uneasy. They had underestimated humans, and that mistake could cost them dearly. Back on the Vault planet, Jace had finished securing the artifacts. He stepped back into the shuttle, feeling a thrill unlike anything he had known. His small adventure had turned into a treasure haul beyond imagination. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of hidden relics, ancient vaults, and lost civilizations. And most importantly, no one expected a human to find them. As he prepared to leave the planet, the ship spoke again. Pilot, warning. Detection signals from multiple alien factions. They are converging on your location. Suggest strategic evasion or alternative route. Jace's grin widened. Aliens coming to see me. Perfect. Let's give them a little human welcome party. He activated the ship's stealth mode, an ancient technology that allowed it to cloak completely even from advanced sensors. Then, with a sudden burst, he shot through the planet's orbit and disappeared into hyperspace. Within hours, messages flooded in from across nearby star systems. Aliens debated what they had seen, tried to track the ship, and sent scouts. Every one of them underestimated the human. They assumed he would panic, make mistakes, or run, but Jace was already planning his next move. Humans had a strange ability to improvise, to see patterns others couldn't, and to act boldly when caution seemed wise. That was their strength. Jace opened the ship's map again, studying the next set of coordinates. All right, let's see what's next. Another vault, another hidden planet, another lost civilization, the ship responded. Pilot, estimated risk level high. Reward potential, unprecedented. Recommendation, human creativity essential. Jace laughed. High risk, huh? That's my specialty. As he set the course, the first alien scouts appeared on the fringes of the system. Small, sleek ships designed for reconnaissance. They approached cautiously, scanning for the ancient vessel. But Jace had already anticipated this. Using the ship's systems, he created false signals, holographic duplicates, and energy decoys. The scouts followed shadows, chasing phantoms, while the real ship slipped past unnoticed. For the first time, Jace truly understood the power he now held. Humans were underestimated in every corner of the galaxy. Alien empires considered them weak, primitive, and predictable. But humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless in ways other species could not imagine. Pilot, potential for galactic domination, detected, the ship said almost proudly. Jace laughed. Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but yeah, I like the sound of that. Hours later, as the ship jumped into hyperspace, Jace reclined in his chair, staring at the stars streaking past. He had acquired his first treasure. He had evaded alien pursuers. And he had begun to prove, in a way the galaxy would soon remember, that humans were not to be underestimated. Somewhere in the ship's ancient core, a faint thought pulsed. Pilot, remarkable. The galaxy will not know what hit it. Jace smirked. Well, let's make sure they know, shall we? And with that, the human and his ancient alien ship hurtled toward the next adventure, ready to uncover treasures, secrets, and power the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia. The galaxy was changing. And Jace Core, a human who had bought an ancient alien ship for 10 credits, was at the center of that change. Jace had returned from the first vault with more treasure than any star system had ever seen. Energy cores capable of powering planets, rare artifacts of lost civilizations, and data crystals containing knowledge older than most alien empires filled his ship's storage bays. The ship itself seemed to glow brighter, its hum stronger, almost like it was energized by Jace's confidence. Pilot, detection of multiple alien fleets, the ship reported, its voice calm but firm. They are converging on your location. Estimated threat level, extreme. Jace rubbed his chin. Extreme, that's a nice word for we're going to try to kill you, he smiled. All right then, let's see what humans can do. For centuries, aliens had underestimated humans. They assumed humans were weak, unskilled, and easy to predict. They had never faced a species that thrived on unpredictability, boldness, and sheer ingenuity. And now, Jace was about to remind them. The first fleet arrived in the sector, 30 sleek warships, bristling with weapons and sensors, commanded by a coalition of 3 alien empires. They were confident, arrogant, and deadly, or at least they thought so. Scan shows massive energy output, one alien commander hissed. But the pilot is human. Impossible. No human could control such a vessel. Jace watched the approaching fleet on the ship's holographic interface. He had a plan, well, an improvisation, but in human terms that was just as good. He activated the ship's cloaking systems and positioned it near a nearby asteroid belt. Pilot, tactical suggestion. Use environmental advantage, the ship advised. Jace grinned. Environmental advantage? You mean blowing their fleet to pieces with rocks and lasers? Sounds good. The alien fleets closed in, scanning carefully. Suddenly, massive chunks of asteroids shot forward from the belt, guided by the ship's ancient gravity manipulators. Ships collided, shields overloaded, and chaos erupted among the alien formation. They had expected a single ship, but not this level of control over the environment. Pilot, effective strategy detected. Enemy formation disrupted, the ship reported. Jace laughed, the sound echoing through the cockpit. They think they can outfight a human. They're about to learn why humans survive when everyone else fails. The battle escalated, but Jace's ingenuity and the ship's power proved overwhelming. He used holographic decoys to confuse targeting systems, energy pulses to disable engines without destroying the ships outright, and ancient alien protocols to exploit weaknesses the aliens didn't even know they had. Within hours, the alien fleets were either fleeing, trapped, or surrendering. Across the galaxy, news of the human ship spread like wildfire. Traders whispered in marketplaces, warlords panicked in their war rooms, and alien scholars scrambled to understand how a single human had overcome 3 empires at once. Jace didn't stop to bask in glory. There were more treasures to find, more vaults to explore, and more opportunities to secure humanity's place in the galaxy. With the ship's guidance, he traveled to another uncharted planet, this one orbiting a dying star. Ancient ruins covered the surface, protected by energy fields designed to repel intruders. Most species would have left immediately, considering the defenses impossible to bypass. Not Jace. He studied the fields, tracing energy flows with his hands and instincts. He noticed irregularities, slight delays in pulse frequencies, and patterns in the alien logic that made no sense at first glance. Then he understood. The system had weaknesses that only someone thinking unconventionally could exploit. Pilot calculation confirms. Human creativity essential for success, the ship noted. Jace smirked. You've got that right. With careful movements, precise timing, and a healthy dose of improvisation, he bypassed the energy fields and entered the ruins. Inside, he discovered a vault filled with advanced alien weaponry, starship blueprints, and data on galactic trade networks. He transferred everything to the ship's storage pods, knowing that every acquisition increased his power and influence exponentially. But the galaxy was taking notice. Alien empires, once dismissive of humans, began sending envoys to negotiate or threaten Jace. He received holographic messages, some polite, some hostile, and some outright demanding surrender. Jace laughed at most of them. They think humans negotiate like aliens, that's cute. One message stood out. A coalition of the galaxy's most powerful empires offered him a choice: surrender the ship and all acquired treasures or face annihilation. He replied simply, I don't surrender, I create. That response shocked the galaxy. Humans were unpredictable. They didn't always play by the rules. And the rules, the aliens were beginning to realize, had been made for everyone but humans. Jace used the ship's communication systems to send messages of alliance, trade, and innovation to various human colonies and settlements across the galaxy. Humans began to rally around him, inspired by his courage and success. Entire star systems that had once been ignored now pledged allegiance to the human pilot. Pilot, influence radius expanding, human networks increasing exponentially, the ship reported. Jace smiled. Looks like the galaxy is about to learn what humans are capable of. Alien factions began to coordinate larger attacks, sending fleets with overwhelming firepower. But every plan failed. Jace's combination of human intuition, improvisation, and the ship's ancient knowledge made him nearly untouchable. He was no longer just a human with a ship. He was a force the galaxy could not predict, a variable no empire could control. In one bold move, he attacked a pirate stronghold that had terrorized trade routes for decades. Using the ship's cloaking and gravity manipulation, he infiltrated the fortress undetected. The pirates, confident in their defenses, were caught completely off guard. Jace disabled their weapons, captured their resources, and released prisoners, all while leaving no permanent destruction. Pilot, moral decisions noted. Human compassion, unusual but effective, the ship commented. Jace shrugged. Humans win wars, but we don't have to be monsters doing it. Every victory increased Jace's reputation. Traders, miners, and even alien scholars began offering information, technology, and support. He became a hub of intelligence, wealth, and influence. Humans under his banner thrived, their colonies prospering, their power growing. The galaxy's elite began to whisper about the human who had bested fleets, conquered vaults, and amassed wealth and knowledge beyond imagination. Stories circulated. A human with a ship older than empires, a human no one could predict, a human who might become the most powerful being in the galaxy. And Jace, he was just getting started. One night, as he navigated through a dense asteroid field, he looked at the stars. Each one held a secret, a challenge, or a treasure waiting for a human bold enough to claim it. He smiled, thinking of all the empires that had mocked humans, all the aliens who had laughed at their supposed weakness. "They'll remember us," he said quietly. "They'll all remember humans." The ship pulsed softly in agreement. Pilot potential for galactic domination confirmed. Historical impact inevitable. Jace chuckled. "Well, let's make it inevitable then." With that, the human pilot and his ancient alien ship jumped to the next uncharted system, ready to acquire more treasures, challenge more fleets, and show the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. The galaxy had thought it was predictable, orderly, and controlled. It had been wrong. Humans thrived in chaos. Humans turned risk into opportunity. Humans, Jace core, were rewriting the rules. And somewhere deep within the ancient ship's core, a thought pulsed, almost like pride. "Pilot, remarkable. Humanity will rise. The galaxy will never be the same." Jace grinned. "Good, I like the sound of that." And the adventure continued. The galaxy was no longer the same. Everywhere, whispers of the human pilot spread through star systems, trading posts, and imperial courts. Jace Core, a man who had bought an ancient alien ship for 10 credits, had become a legend. Some called him reckless, others brilliant, but all agreed. Humans were no longer a species to ignore. Jace sat in the cockpit of the alien ship, his fingers resting lightly on the console. The vessel pulsed softly beneath him, responding to his presence like a loyal companion. He had already claimed treasure vaults, discovered lost civilizations, and outsmarted fleets that had once been considered unbeatable. And yet, he felt there was more to be done. Pilot, detection of approaching coalition forces, largest threat yet. Estimated combined fleet strength, 1,200 vessels, the ship announced. Jace's grin widened. 1,200, perfect. I've been getting bored anyway. The galaxy's most powerful empires, realizing that humans could not be underestimated, had finally joined forces. They sought to eliminate Jace to reclaim what they considered their rightful control over the galaxy. It was an impressive challenge, and humans thrived on challenges. "Pilot, probability of success moderate," the ship said cautiously. Jace chuckled. "Moderate, that's generous. Let's make it impossible for them to win." The coalition arrived in the system, their ships forming massive formations around a strategically important star. Jace, anticipating their approach, activated the alien ship's ancient cloaking systems. He studied the enemy fleet carefully, analyzing their formations, communication patterns, and attack sequences. "Pilot, strategy proposal, leverage environmental advantage and psychological manipulation," the ship suggested. Jace smirked. "Environmental advantage again. Sounds like a party." Using the asteroid belt in the system and the dying star nearby, he created a series of traps. Gravity manipulators pulled massive asteroids into the paths of incoming vessels, while the ship's holographic systems created phantom fleets and false signals. Alien commanders, confident in their knowledge of human weaknesses, were thrown into confusion. "Pilot, effectiveness extraordinary," the ship commented. Jace pressed further. Using the ancient weapon systems aboard the ship, he selectively disabled enemy engines and weapons without destroying the vessels entirely. His goal was not just victory, it was dominance. The aliens would know that humans were clever, ruthless when necessary, and impossible to predict. Hours passed. The alien fleets struggled to coordinate, their communications jammed by the ship's ancient technologies. One by one, their formations collapsed. Leaders surrendered. Remaining ships fled into hyperspace, unable to track the human pilot who had outsmarted them at every turn. Jace leaned back in the cockpit, a satisfied smile on his face. Well, that was fun. Pilot, influence radius expanding exponentially. Human reputation, now galactic, the ship reported. Word of the battle spread faster than light. Humans were no longer minor players. They had survived the impossible, outmaneuvered entire coalitions, and proven that their ingenuity and fearlessness made them a force of nature. Traders, miners, and colonies that had once been isolated pledged allegiance. The galaxy was beginning to recognize a new power, humanity under Jace's core. But Jace knew the galaxy was more than just treasure and fleets. Influence was power, but alliances and loyalty were stronger. He used the ship's communication systems to broadcast messages of trade, protection, and opportunity. Humans and willing aliens flocked to him, drawn by his reputation and the promise of wealth and security. Pilot human network expansion, unparalleled, the ship noted. Jace nodded. Good, let's make sure every system knows we're here to stay. With the combined wealth of the vaults, advanced alien technology, and knowledge from ancient civilizations, Jace began restructuring trade, mining, and defense networks. He created opportunities for humans everywhere, ensuring that no colony would be left behind. He was not only a pilot, he was a leader and emperor, a symbol of human potential. Alien scholars, once dismissive of humans, now studied Jace and his strategies. They recorded how a single human, armed with ingenuity and an ancient ship, had toppled fleets, claimed treasures, and united colonies. Their histories were rewritten to include a species they had once thought inferior. As Jace traveled from system to system, he encountered remnants of other ancient civilizations. Some offered knowledge, others offered technology, and some simply bowed in awe. Every encounter reinforced a simple truth. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of feats no other species could manage. One evening in the quiet of deep space, Jace reflected on how far he had come. 10 credits, one impulsive purchase. And now billions of credits, thousands of loyal followers, and influence across the galaxy. He smiled, thinking of the aliens who had laughed at humans in the auction hall. They thought they knew humans, he muttered. They had no idea. The ship pulsed in agreement. Pilot, historical impact, inevitable, humanity's era beginning. Jace grinned. Good, let's make it spectacular. But power brings attention, and attention brings challenges. Reports arrived of rogue factions attempting to exploit weaknesses in human alliances. Pirates, mercenaries, and corrupt officials tested boundaries. Jace responded swiftly, using the ship's advanced sensors, weapons, and strategy systems. He neutralized threats with minimal destruction, ensuring loyalty through protection and reward rather than fear alone. Humans, inspired by Jace's leadership, began innovating. New technologies, trade networks, and security measures emerged. Colonies prospered. The galaxy slowly adapted to the presence of a powerful human leader who wielded influence without tyranny, using intelligence, foresight, and courage to unify. The culmination came when the last major alien coalition attempted to challenge Jace directly. Hundreds of ships, elite warriors, and strategic minds converged on his location. It was the final test, the ultimate demonstration of human potential against the galaxy's combined might. Jace calmly assessed the situation. Using every skill he had learned, every artifact he had acquired, and every advantage the ancient ship provided, he executed a plan that would become legendary. Holographic decoys, energy traps, environmental manipulation, and precise strikes disrupted the coalition. Human colonies coordinated support, creating diversions and reinforcements. The aliens, despite their advanced strategies, could not predict the human variable. Every move Jace made was unexpected, every tactic innovative, and every decision decisive. Within hours, the coalition was neutralized, ships surrendered, leaders begged for negotiation. The galaxy's greatest powers had failed to contain a single human. Pilot supremacy established, the ship announced softly. Jace laughed. Supremacy, maybe. But let's call it human ingenuity. He broadcast a message to the galaxy. Humans were not only survivors, they were leaders. They would protect their own, innovate, and thrive where others had failed, and anyone who underestimated them would face the consequences. For humans across the galaxy, it was a moment of pride. They had a leader who embodied everything their species had always been capable of: clever, daring, adaptable, and unstoppable. Jace Kor, once a simple trader, had become the galaxy's richest emperor, commanding wealth, knowledge, and respect beyond imagination. In the quiet after the final battle, Jace looked at the stars. He knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries, treasures, and challenges yet to be discovered, and humans, led by his example, were ready to explore it all. Pilot, potential for further discovery infinite, the ship said. Jace smiled. Good, let's make history again. The galaxy had doubted humans. They had laughed at their supposed weakness. But now, humans were the benchmark. The species that others had mocked was unstoppable, resourceful, and brilliant. Under Jace's leadership, humanity had not only survived, it had risen to rule, inspire, and dominate. And somewhere deep in the ship's ancient core, a faint echo of thought pulsed. Pilot, humanity will be remembered for eons. The galaxy is yours. Jace Kor leaned back in the cockpit, the stars stretching before him. He had bought a 5,349-year-old alien ship for 10 credits. He had become the galaxy's richest emperor, and the legend of humans had only just begun. The adventure was far from over.